Welcome to the Skate Like You podcast.
What's going on, everybody? Hey, it's Mark, Skate Like You podcast, skatelikeyou.com. I am here with the one and only Dylan Morton. How's it going, Dylan?
I'm good. How you feeling, man?
I'm good, man. Thanks so much for being on, man. I appreciate this.
Well, I appreciate you for having me. I've always seen, I just know it from the orange logo. I see the orange logo pop up. I know the podcast is coming, so I'm excited to be on here.
Oh man, that's dope, man. I appreciate that. It's kind of crazy. Like I always tell people, like, you know, people say like, oh, you know, if they're nervous or whatever, I always say the same thing. I'm like, dude, like this isn't real. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, don't sweat it. Like this is not, you know what I mean? I started this thing like, I don't know, a little over a year ago with just an iPhone, sitting in front of an iPhone.
Really?
And yeah, you know, and just, it is what it is, man. I don't know what I'm doing, but.
How many people have you interviewed so far? Do you know?
So this is going to be, you're like, so I just uploaded episode 62. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, like I do like 10 episodes, a season. So this is like this is like the 5th season right now. So total, right. Like I think you'll be like this like 70th or something. You might even be the first episode of season 6. Yeah,
that'd be dope.
It's crazy, dude. It's crazy. But you got way more crazier stuff going on, man. Like, damn, yeah, dude. So let me, can I, do you mind if I ask like how old you are? Cause I just want to get a frame of reference. You know what I mean? To everything. How old are you?
So before I tell you, I'm going to let you guess because I do this with everybody,
that, dude.
right? So you got to give me just a number and I'll tell you.
Okay. Well then it's only fair that you got to guess me.
Okay.
Shit, I don't even know if I want that, but like we'll figure. I cannot imagine you. But like, you got to be mid-20s at best, at most, is what I would assume. You know what I mean? That'd be like the oldest, I would assume.
Yeah, I'm 24.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm 24. Yeah, I turned 24 like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say 31, 32.
Oh, fuck you, dude. No. I gotta cut that. No, for real. No. Not you saying that. Me. I always try. I tell people that's the one thing I didn't say. Is like I always tell people like try and chill on the F-bomb. Like and then me. Yo, for real, dude. Oh man, that's the sweetest thing I ever heard, dude.
Am I close?
No, bro. No, I'm No, I'm 44, dude.
Oh, I mean,
yeah, I'm just immature as hell. If anything, that's what it is.
It's a personality, you know?
Yeah, dude. I just haven't grown up at all, man. So
it's all good.
But you know what? So here's the thing, dude. Like you're still at that spot. So like I said you'd max out at like mid-20s. That was my prediction. And like you're still at the age where like if someone predicts your real age, it's cool, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I'm not at that place anymore.
I usually get like either low 20s or like high 20s.
Yeah.
A lot of people think I'm older than I actually am.
Okay. Why do you think that is?
The way I carry, from what people tell me, it's the way I carry myself, you know? And just, you would think that, I don't know exactly why, but yeah, definitely how I carry myself and the way I present myself. The conversations I'm able to have and the people I have around me seems more.
Would you say that the people that assume that, like they're people that know you in skating, or is it just people that even know you outside of skating that kind of have that opinion?
It's really just, like that have that opinion. It's people who know me, but like people within inside the skate world. Yeah.
Okay. That's
usually where I get it, right? I'll be at the rink at a party or something and somebody be like, Dylan, how old are you? And I do that game with them every single time. I'm like, guess. And then I like to hear what people think.
I got to assume people, if they guess a little older, it's just got to be based on what they're seeing you do, right? Like, because they're just assuming this is years and years and thousands of hours of practice and all that stuff. You know what I mean? So that's what I would assume. That's only because I haven't really had a conversation with you. You know what I mean? So,
right.
All right, man. Well, the reason it's funny is I don't even know if I've ever asked anyone that question, but I want to make sure that you understand the reason I do ask is because basically what I just said. Actually, I don't even know if you saw the reel. I had with Ron Yeasel with Huggy Bear.
Oh, trust me, I saw the reel.
Okay. So, but yo, like I'm saying, I mean, yeah, the reason I ask is I like it. I'm interested as a frame of reference as far as your age goes, because yeah, dude, like, look, man, you are next level. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
is what you do, man. You really are, right? So
Mhm.
like it comes to question, like, man, how long has this dude been doing it? And
Yeah,
the one question I ask every single person I have on here: do you remember the first time you put on skates?
I do. And you know what's crazy is I was just having a conversation with my mom this weekend talking about it. The first time she took us to the roller rink was for a cousin's birthday party at Castle Skateland, which is my home rink. And I remember that first time going and just being captivated. And I remember having going up to one of the skaters there and being like, I want to do what you do. And so I've been skating for 15 years. So I started when I was 9.
Okay.
So I went to the birthday party. I was 9 years old. And so, yeah, I remember like going, loving it, and then just like wanting to go back because at that time, there were so many people who skated at the rink. You go in there on any given Saturday night, which is like, it was the night and so you'd see hundreds of skaters and people were doing the jam skating in the middle. They were shuffle skate on the outside. And I was like, this is like, I had up to that point as a kid, I played all kinds of sports, but I had never felt, I guess, the way I felt about roller skating to like keep going back
Mm-hmm.
and back and back and back,
Okay. So you're hooked from like day one.
Yeah, yeah. From day one, I was like, this is what I want to do. And I told somebody like, I want you to teach me what you do. And of course, like in hindsight, like I look at myself now and I have kids who come up and do the same thing to me
Right.
where they're like, teach me, like I want to do that. And I was that kid. Um, but I was the kid who never stopped saying that,
Yeah, man.
I was the kid who never stopped. I was the kid who just was always trying to ask everybody and skate with everybody and learn from everybody. And I had some like strong OGs growing up, like Smitty and Zane and there's a few other skaters that used to skate back in the day that I was just super inspired by and I could really like latch onto. And so that was
Mm.
it, that was it, you
Yeah,
know?
man. Yeah. It's funny too, because like one of the topics that comes up on here every once in a while is we talk about like, well, the term I do, like I use is like cater to the skater, like as a rink, right? Cater to the skater
Hmm.
because like not everything has to be all about like the full-time skater, right? But
Right.
because rinks got to do what they do, right? They got to cater to, the parties and this and that and the other thing.
Hmm.
But my whole philosophy is like, if people just come there to skate, just like, hop on some brownies as a once in a while, I lost a bet, I'm going to a birthday party sort of
Right.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they don't care what they're skating to. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So my whole thing is like cater to the skater because like keep the those real skaters, keep them coming because it's one of those few people that's just going to show up randomly
Hmm.
that's gonna see people doing what they love, doing what they know how to do well, and they're like me, like you, are gonna look at that and be like, I want to do that. I want to.
Yeah, that's it.
I want to be like. I want to do what they're doing, but there has to be something attractive there. And it sounds like
Yeah.
to me, you got to that spot, and not. It's not that you just really enjoyed doing it. You found people and you saw people where you were like,
Yeah.
"Yo, I want to do that shit." Is it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. And it was, when you walked in, you knew exactly what, you knew exactly what the rink was about. And you saw the people doing their thing and it was a really like jam skating was really pushing strong in Cincinnati up until like 2014, 2015-ish,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like up to that point, it was really strong. And like every weekend you would hear, right, the tunes that like you knew you wanted to hear. And things change, things shift too, right? Like demographic shift, different people start skating and music shifts and all that shifts. But like you said, to your point, the rink the rink should always cater to the skaters who are going to be there because they're providing inspiration.
Yeah.
And a good example I have of that is Chicago, because I lived in Chicago for 6 months, right? So I got to really go to every rink, embrace it. But what I saw was during their normal sessions, during the normal daytime sessions, they were playing the same music that they would play during the adult night, which like now I was like explicit music, but most of the music they played, would be JB music.
Yeah.
And then you would see, a herd of skaters who knew what they were doing, right? And young ones and older people, and they were all still skating. And then you could watch and look around the rink and see all the other non-skaters who were there for birthday parties or just to have fun. They get to watch. And that's how you get people captivated into the sport, right?
Yeah.
Because you're showing them like a whole nother alternative to something that they thought was just like recreational fun. So
Yeah,
like
man.
we've had to go through shifts, like we've gone through shifts in Cincinnati, you know what I mean? Even as of recent, last couple of years, in the way like of the different types of skaters and skaters wanting to be able to skate to everything and skaters wanting to try all different kinds of styles, and social media and people being able to teach on social media has just exposed this kind of like phenomenon of people just wanting to do everything and skate to everything. And so like, and I mean, it's probably not even just in Cincinnati. It's probably everywhere. People just want to skate to all different kinds of skate music. And so, it's kind of it's a challenge sometimes, So,
Yeah,
but
man.
when people go to the ring and they see him in his zone skating from, what they do is different.
Yeah, man. And look, you like your local talent, like your local like regulars, your skaters, like they're like half the entertainment. You know what I mean? In that place.
Yeah,
I mean,
man.
how many times do you just you go to any rink and you could just watch people like standing behind a wall, just watching, like a shuffle crowd going around or just watching,
Yeah,
you know what I
all the
mean?
time. Yeah.
But like, so not only like it's entertaining, like a lot of those non-regulars, but those few, because it's not all of them, but there's like there's going to be that one kid, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, shit. You know what I mean? Like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I was
Yeah.
fortunate. Like, I don't remember learning. Like, I'm the youngest of three. My brother's the oldest, and then my sister, and then me. And my brother skated, my sister skated, and then I was just brought to that rink. Like, we
Yep.
all worked there. We all grew up there. But like, so all right, man. But like for you, so you know right away, like this is it. One thing I do want to ask: were you prior to this? I mean, you're young, but prior to skating, were you into like b-boying at all at that point before skating, or
No,
so skating led to
no.
that?
Skating led. I was a really athletic kid. I played baseball. I played basketball. Basketball was my first love, right?
Okay.
So before anything else, I love playing basketball. And I love sports because me and the neighborhood kids would go out in the fields, like, back, and I hate saying like back in those days, right? But back when like kids would actually be outside with each other
Yeah.
and like playing, and we didn't have any phones or any like thing like that. Like we were just always outside. So I was a super athletic kid. And I had a little bit of like flipping in my front yard experience, learning how to do back handsprings on like a super steep hill. So like I was just a kid who was just trying to do everything.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So, all right. But you're like hooked from day one. So like so you go that first time, when is the next time you're back at the rink?
I think it was like that next weekend.
All right.
Because my mom's a skater, right? My mom.
Okay. Okay. That was going to be my next question.
My mom's a skater. And so like, and my brothers, I have a huge family, right? Everybody in my family on my mom's side skates.
Okay.
Right. And so like my mom used to go to Castle Skateland. She wasn't like all the time every year, right? But I think she had been going more frequently. And then when we went and we enjoyed it, it encouraged her to keep going. So the whole family, from the time that I started, probably up until like 2016, 2017, we all skated.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what, like now you go back like, next weekend, like what's your first setup? Like what's the first set of skates you get? Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember. I
you?
do remember. So I got them probably about a year into skating.
Okay.
And growing the reason why we ended up going to the rink a lot is because I moved from the west side of town to the east side of town.
Okay.
I moved from my father's house to my mother's house.
All right.
And so things were rough, right? Couldn't afford skates. And so for the first year I was wearing brownies and my feet were so small, I couldn't really fit the speed skates. I think I was like 2 sizes too small. So like the last few months I started to wear extra socks and put extra padding.
Yeah.
And the rink had like a special pair of size 4s for me. So I wear those. And then I finally got a pair of the blue Rydell darts. So the Rydell darts, that was when they were brand new. They dropped. My mom bought me some. They were like $100. And then the first pair of skates that I actually bought was a pair of 851s when the 851s came out as well. So they had like a red and blue pattern on the front. And so I have pictures. I can send all these to you.
Cool.
So people can kind of see the setups and whatnot. But
yeah.
I remember almost every single setup I've had.
Yeah, man. So it's funny because like I remember like interesting. Like I grew up in New England, and the rink, the main rink that I skated, the one that my brother worked at, my sister worked at, and I worked at was in southern Maine. And like nobody at our rink had speed boots. Like nobody.
Really?
Yeah, everybody was in a high boot. Like all the dudes had black skates, all the girls had the white high boot. You know, that's how I grew up. I grew like my first pair was like all Chicago, like the vinyl, you know, blue laces, blue wheels. And so at my rink coming up, when you graduated to like leather, like that was like, oh, okay. Now like you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
So that was like huge. And then or suede was like big, you know, in New England too. But yeah, like when would you say, okay, I mean, you start that young, when, you know, and might be kind of a tough question, but when do you kind of like, you might not perceive it this way. I think a lot of people will. I know I do to a certain extent. But when do you see maybe you kind of your ability or skill levels kind of start to really kind of, I don't know, just you're kind of doing things that maybe other people at your rink aren't doing. You know what I mean? Like when do you really start to and
at
even,
the rink?
Even more here's the better way to ask this. When does it first hit you where you're like, yo, like I'm not only do I love this, I'm good at this. Like I do this really well. Did you remember a time where you were able to say that to yourself?
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, I've always been a confident person.
Okay.
Right. And so like I would always tell myself that, right? But when I truly felt it, like when I felt like, okay, like now I'm really starting to get some juice, I think it was when I was like 18 or 19.
Okay.
It took a while, and I'll tell you the reason why is because you asked me about like the breakdancing. I started breakdancing pretty early on. If you know Ireland, like Cody Aldridge, and the Light family, so I spent a lot of time with them, and we kind of breakdanced together, and that's where I started to learn how to breakdance. So they were very pivotal in helping me and making sure that I was making it, you know, to events and whatnot. And so we'd always practice together, and so that's kind of how I got the b-boy breakdancing thing, and we did that. And like you said, I'm a jam skater, right? So, you know, it's a jam skating rink, and that's what I was born and bred on, and battling. So like, I grew up learning to like skate to battle people, not skate to. I skated to enjoy myself. I obviously love skating, right? Or I wouldn't do it. But like I was bred to like get up and go and, you know,
compete, face
off and compete. And so I didn't really feel like I had it until I broke away from that and I got to explore everything else. And see kind of like what all the skate world had to offer. And I would even say it was later than 18 or 19, maybe not even until like the last year or two.
Okay.
To say like, I really, to like feel like, okay, like I have something that's different. Yeah. And that attracts people. And right. And so like my something is super special. And I didn't really feel that until like the last year or two.
Yeah. Is that a tough thing to say out loud? Because I think it's cool. Like I don't, when I hear you say it, I don't interpret it as arrogance or anything like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I just, you know, but like, yeah, it's probably a tough question to answer. And two, yeah, it's a hard thing. Do you see is that like a tough thing to say out loud?
It's tough, yes, but it's not no, because everybody's gonna have opinions, and I always just think to myself and remember that, like, even with if I say the nicest thing possible, somebody in the
Yeah, man.
universe is gonna have an issue with it, and so like I might as well just go ahead and say it, right? And so
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with saying it, especially if I'm in an interview. Now, do I go around and like
Right,
just tell
right.
people like I got the juice, I got the sauce, like, no, I don't do that, and
Right, right,
I'd
right.
rather not talk about it. The only time I ever talk about it is with my girlfriend. Like like
Mm.
only my girlfriend will hear, or my family will hear moments where it's like, all right, yeah, maybe but other than that, unless it's asked like in a podcast like this or anything, I don't really talk about it. But I don't mind talking about it.
Yeah.
It's not a hard question, because I'm still and I'm still like trying to figure out what my sauce is. Like, I'm still trying to get better.
Yeah.
So like that's the thing, is like whatever you see this year, next year, I'm gonna be like, yeah, I probably didn't really have the sauce when I thought I did.
Oh
I
yeah.
really have it now though. So it's
Yep.
like always kind of elevating and changing.
Yeah. Like every like 7 to 10 years of your life, you're gonna look back at your life and be like, man, I was like really full of shit 7 to 10 years ago.
Yo,
But it's just learn. You're just learning. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's just life. It's just experience, right? Like it just it shapes our perception and everything. So like now, yeah, I mean the aspect of like what you do, especially from like the jam end of things, is it's a battling it's so funny how like I mean obviously the fact that it's got this like this b-boying and breaking these roots, like that element of that one element of hip hop. I mean it's no surprise that there's that battle element to it, you know what I mean? It very much
right,
feels that way. But were
yeah,
you like naturally a competitive type person? Were you like
yeah,
always,
yeah.
but even before that? Yeah.
I was always in, some kind of sport league, something just like, and I was competitive in the ring too. Like I was always trying to be, like trying to get better, like I've always had that kind of drive in me. It
Yeah.
only enhanced it, right? When I knew like, oh, I can battle, right? And at first, like, it's like not as awesome as it seems, because or it's awesome because you're like, that's really cool, I get to see these, and you watch the different battles, and like I credit my home rink because like I got to see the battles at my home rink, or like at a rink that was only 20 minutes away from the home rink. So when you can see it, right, it kind of changes, and you're like, I want to do that. And then the road up to that point is rocky, and then if you do get lucky enough, right, like, I guess I'm not gonna say lucky, but if you do work hard enough and put yourself in those positions, you end up becoming like that person that you were watching,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, man. I mean, the thing about it too, like, I mean, because my brother like was a early '80s b boy. Okay, I'm talking
Mm-hmm.
cardboard on the street, like
Ooh wee,
you know what I mean?
cardboard.
Yeah, like like a gray boombox. Like he's the one that got me into
Mm-hmm.
hip hop for sure. Like Herbie Hancock, like all that stuff. And the funny thing about it was like when I got into that stuff with him, we talk about like that confidence and that bravado and all that kind of stuff, which is such a huge element to it, but
Yeah.
it's not as real as people like to think. You know what I mean? Like it
Mm-hmm.
like that thing that you put out there, you know what I mean? That but it's just such a part of it, and I love seeing it in skating. I love
Yeah.
seeing like that whole thing that happens, man, where because people that don't know what they're looking at can be like, yo, these dudes, like, if someone did that to me, you know what I mean? It like,
It's over.
yeah. But so like, okay, for you, like when you start, when's like you first get into competition? Did you get into competition? Was that like a thing for you coming
Early,
up?
yeah. I got it. I mean, we had it at the rink. We had the Jam Skate Academy at the rink, and so folks from Indiana, shout out to Abigail Shoulders, really, really like set the scene and set the stage for competitive jam skating and competitive like battling. And so like I would attend these workshops, I would do these things, and I know like I had a bunch of battles up until 2014, right? But they were like a lot of local battles. So there's clips on YouTube of me skating at Beachmont Roll Arena, I think when I was like 11 years old, and I'm like placing Final Four amongst like other skaters who have competed, and I'm just like this little tiny baby. So I've had battles all the way back until then, and I don't necessarily like remember those battles or moments, but like I look back at it and I'm like, yeah, I really wanted it because there was no other kid that, there was no other kid that was my age at that time I was going against people that like I skated against and like I was admiring. And so like ever since a young skater, when I was battling, I was always battling, ended up battling the best,
Yeah, man.
right? The people that I admired, because I would get through the rounds and then I'd be in the like, final four, sometimes even the final, the eight, right? And I would have to battle like, I don't know, like Diamond Walker. And then it's like, okay, I know what the outcome is, but I still have to battle. And so that's what built up my like mentality of like where I put the front on, right? Like, yo, I'm about to face this guy, but he's not about to beat me, right? In my head, he's not gonna beat me.
There you go.
Whatever happens on the floor, that's what happens. But like, I have to tell myself that like I'm the ultimate warrior when I step in the circle, and I just gotta do me, right? Because if I do me, nobody can do me better than anybody else in here. And so it's like,
dude, thank you.
If I'm trying to captivate, I don't care about whoever's across from me, right? You gotta take that mentality. I don't care. You could be whoever you are, you can't play me better than I can play me, right? And I'm gonna show everybody that's watching, not just the crowd, not just the judges. I'm gonna show you that, and so that's kind of like that's the mentality I have, and that's what's kind of helped me, be in the battle scene so long and not be scared, and end up being to a point where like, people are asking me and asking me for advice about battling and whatnot. And so like, it's cool to watch the evolution. Cause I was definitely like, there's moments where you're like scared and you look back and you're like, yo, like, I felt like I was going to pee myself before I competed or I had to battle this guy. And so, and then there's moments where like, I like surprised myself and went out there and like under the pressure and under the circumstances I was in, rose to a level that I didn't think so. And like did accomplish something that like, others didn't think that I would be able to do. And then it became to a point where it was like, is Dylan winning this year, right? Like, what is he going to win this year? It wasn't like, where it was like, so. And
well, you're that guy now. Now you're that guy. And someone else is looking across from you, looks up to you. You know what I mean?
But I still lose all the time.
Yeah,
like in the jam skate competitions, like I haven't won a jam skate competition in like 2 years, right? So there's still like I have lost like the last like 2-3 years, and so like, and that's cool, right? So it's always known that things happen in battles and whatnot, and you lose, and so to take that and to keep drilling it and keep going, it's also showing people that like there has to be some level of humility, right? Right? Like you can't always, you don't always want to feel like you're at the top, right? Because if you always feel that way, then you're gonna get lonely up there, right? You want to always feel like you've got work to do, and so like that's
man.
That's the element of battling. You win some, you lose some. I've won a lot, I've lost a lot, but yeah, when I go to events, it's me and a few other names who people are like, at some point we might have to see that guy. And it's fun watching people battling people for like the last 2 years and seeing how they go about the battle and like playing mind games with them. I love it. It's so much fun.
Okay, so you're about that mental aspect of this too, though. So
and not even in the small things, very very small things. So you'll see me in a battle sometimes, like
you drop you drop a little bomb inside their brain.
Yeah. I'll never lose eye contact with them. Some rounds they'll come at me and I won't even look at them in the eyes when they're skating. I'll literally like be, looking away, not even paying attention. And that gets to people, or like turning your back. Like there's always these kinds of things. But like when I'm out there, I try to be as calm, cool, and collected as I can. And sometimes it doesn't work. You just get too crazy, too wild, too energetic. A lot of stuff's going on. But yeah, all these little mind games that you try to play with people so that you get them off their game, even just the slightest bit. It works.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I mean, it's one-on-one, with the world watching is what it feels like.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But it's interesting though too. Like when you talk about, maintaining a certain level of humility. I know like it started immediately for me when the earliest memories I have of skating, I just want to impress my brother. Like my brother was like the man at my rink. In our little pond, he was it, man. And I wanted to impress him. But this mentality got built into me immediately of like, okay, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna learn this or this, and nobody's gonna see it, and I'm gonna show up, and I'm gonna
Right.
drop this thing, right?
Yeah.
And that became like, it shaped my mentality about skating. And I think that, like, especially in the battling aspect of things, to me, that makes, yeah, I loved kind of like showing up to the people that I respected, that I looked at, and I was like, yo, I want to do what you do. And then, like, kind of like just revealing something new, right? Some trick, some whatever. And like, and have people be like, oh, okay, like, well, when did that happen, or what,
Right.
whatever, right? And to this day, even at this age, I don't know if I will be able to enjoy what I do if I can't always change it, modify it, evolve it. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I can't just stay in this lane. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, it just, I get way too bored. I'm way too ADD.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
it. I got
but
bored, bro. That's
yeah.
how I grew. I got bored, I'm not necessarily like crazy bored, but like you get bored of like going around in a circle the whole time. At least
Mhm.
for me, right? Like just shuffle skating the whole time. Like I got bored of that, so I got to the middle, and then like I started jam skating, and I jam skated for like 8 years, and then I saw the other world, right? I saw the rhythm skate world, and I got to see what like I had seen glimpses of it, like when I was battling, and we were in it was Summer Jam, I think 2014 in South Carolina at Kate's. And there was a bunch of rhythm skaters like Reggie, Bat Smoke, who came out and they battled. And that was my first time. But like I had never been to like any kind of rink. And finally I did. And then I realized like I saw how bored I was with the other stuff
Mm.
because I was so intrigued by what I saw when I was going to the place in Coleraine here in Cincinnati. And then when I saw that and I heard the music and I was like, yo, this is like definitely more of my speed. I really enjoy this. It kind of sparked another thing for me. And then when all the things happened and the jobs became a thing for me, like that was also another thing that took the excitement to another level. And not saying I got bored with the other stuff, but like I was able to attack a new aspect of roller skating that I didn't know was here.
Well, yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but based on what you're saying now and what you said before too, because I heard you mention this before earlier when you were talking about kind of evolve, like you were a jam skater. That's what you did
Hmm.
that for a while, but then you kind of got exposed to these other styles, but not that it like made Dylan be a rhythm skater or any,
Right.
but it made you find how you wanted to do this thing, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
go get evolve, like,
Yeah.
like and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but like literally that's the philosophy of like skate like you is like
Yeah.
like for me, like and people have heard me say this, sorry to everybody that listens on the regular because they hear this a million times, but like to me, like it wasn't always this way, but at some
Right.
point in my life, skating for me became the most authentic version of who I was.
Right.
It was like the most honest me. Like I knew how to be me. I was comfortable being me. I didn't want to be anybody else.
Yeah.
But it wasn't as a result of me being locked in this thing, right? Like I wasn't
Mhm.
defined as this style. I wasn't, in a group of 20 other people doing the same, like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
whatever, like, and it was just, it was me. But my point is that like, that's what I heard you say. Like when matter of fact, I think you said like when you kind of figured out, it wasn't just about you figuring out how like that you were excelling at this. It was when you
Hmm.
figured out, this is how I want to do this. This is how
Yeah.
Dylan does this. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. I put and like I never put a label on my skating. I try not to.
Yes.
I used to try. I used to try to put a label on my skating, right? And then I realized there's no one word or two words that you could put together that could describe my experience in skating. However, there are plenty of people in the world who can, right? There are plenty of people who stay in their region, and you could say that they are a rhythm skater, right? Like
Mm,
you could say that they are a jam skater because that's all they've ever done. But when you create your own experiences
mm,
that involve diversifying your style, you can never put one pinpoint on what that is. And so, like, yes, I'm a jam skater, and I practice b-boying with my skates. Like, I took like few classes to b-boy. I'm also a dancer, so I took ballet, I took hip hop, I took jazz, I took leaps and turns. I learned all of that stuff, and then only when I did all of that, right? Because all of that happened before I turned 18. All of
mm.
that happened before I turned 18. When I was 16, I started going to the rhythm to the skate place. And it was 18 and up, and I was getting my way in. Shout out to the owners because they was letting a young fella in, and I would go up to Orbit in Dayton, and I started going to all these events. And then it was after I turned 18 when I started to travel, right? And I went to Atlanta, and holy cow, I was like, in Atlanta, like, I saw all the things it was
Yeah.
just like mind boggling. It was just crazy in one night. And from then, it just sprouted because I've been blessed enough to be able to, travel the world and see different things and skate with so many different people that I've just taken itty bitsy things from everybody that I've ever been interacted with in skating, and I've just applied it to my own juice and flavor. And nobody has ever had the same experience as I had, right, with skating. Like everybody's experience is different, so like
Yeah.
there's not one person who has any sort of similar style, right? Because they don't have the same experiences, and I think that's a beautiful thing, and
Hell
that's
yeah.
why I love traveling because you get to see what other people experience, right? I'm experiencing their experience through their skating. It's
Yeah.
so crazy.
Yeah, no,
It's
I
so
totally
crazy.
get it. And matter of fact, it's funny too is that like this is another thing that I bring up a lot. Like the people that I love to watch, right? Like that I like,
Hmm.
you see a video, you see somebody at a rink, whatever, right? And like the kind of people that are like, oh shit, I gotta go lace up right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like that
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
thing. Are the people though that cannot be mistaken for anybody else? You know what I'm
That
saying?
part.
You could
Yeah.
put them behind a screen and just you're gonna know like, oh, that's
Hmm.
so and so, like, and that's what I think that you absolutely bring to the table. I mean, people are
Yeah.
gonna know, like no matter whether it's middle of the floor, whatever. Yeah, there you could put a ninja outfit on, dude, and people are gonna know
Yeah.
like, oh, that's
I have
Dylan
a very
Morton.
distinct style. I have a
Yeah,
very,
man.
very distinct style. And it's so weird because it's not just one style. Like I said, I lived in
Exactly.
Chicago for 7 months, so I got to learn like the foundation and roots of the JB style. And while it was a short and brief experience, like it included into it, and it's so much. Like going to Cali every other freaking weekend, 3 years ago, being exposed to that and seeing all of that, it's just, yeah, there's so much I've done in such a short period of time that like I have a hard time keeping up, but it's
Yeah.
all played a role in how I skate. And like you said, it's very distinct.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to make it more distinct, I'm really trying to and there's so much time. Like when people say like there's not a lot of time, like I think like if I'm skating for 14 more years, like what can I do? Holy cow. Like if I have 10 more years of this, right? And like
Yeah.
being because my I don't see my prime ending for you know, for as long as it can be there, right? I want to be in my mid 30s, being able to do mostly what I can do now, and I know it's possible. And
Yeah.
if anybody tells me differently, I just tell them to go look at Tony Zane and go see how he's doing, and see and see like you can do it for as long, like, and no matter what injuries, because he overcame some injuries and things like that, and so I want to be able to do it as long as I can and keep growing. So like 10 years from now, I want to people to be like, yeah, we know that's him just by how he's skating.
Yeah, man. Well, so let me ask, what would you say, like, what was like the first thing, like a professional offer or something like that came your way
Hmm.
that like you were like, oh, you know what I mean? Like they kind of made you
Yeah.
feel like you arrived to a certain degree. And not to say that like
Oh,
other things haven't come along since that were bigger and better
right.
opportunities. But when was that first time? Like, do you remember like what it was? And
Yeah. Yeah. It was the Disney project.
okay.
So like I'm not gonna say that getting the offer to be on the pilot show was like bigger than my official offer, right? Because when I got a DM on a random I think like a Wednesday or Thursday. I still have the DM. Um, when I get a DM and I'm at work, and all of a sudden I'm flying to New Orleans for a week to shoot a pilot for a Disney show. It's like crazy, right? But even crazier than that is we do this pilot, right? And everything's going good, and they're like, we'll let you know if they pick it up, right there. That was it, right? You know how it goes, right? And I didn't know that. I'm so naive. This is my first time doing a big gig, so I'm just like so happy. I'm like, they're gonna do it, they're gonna do it.
Yeah.
And they do it, right? And we shot in New Orleans, and so they do it, but then they moved it to Chicago, right? And so like I don't live in Chicago, and by the way, like they have a budget, and the budget isn't including all the specialty skaters for travel and all that. So you got to work as a local. So I'm like, well, shit. Like, oh, well. Uh, anyways, the opportunity. I'm like, well, it was cool, right? But then, Fat Smoke and my peoples in Chicago, like they convinced me. I went out on a limb. Um, asked my parents. I was like 2019 at the time. Asked my parents for money for like I had to get an Airbnb for like a week and go out there and take a chance on myself. And it was this moment, and all this leads up to this moment where I go to Chicago to do a lookalike with one of the actors to see if I could fit as a double. And I'm sitting in the room, and I got some other skaters around me that I know, and we're waiting for the actor to come in. And all of a sudden, the actor walks in. We all look at him, and then everybody sees past. Everybody looks at me, and we look dead alike. Me and Aggie look dead alike. So I'm like, I know, right?
Yeah.
But I booked that. I booked the role as a golden skater and a double skater, right? Which is cool in itself. But what really set it over the edge is how I helped in production, right? How I helped the other skaters, how I helped the choreographer from day one, and how I tried to be involved and do what I needed to do to make sure that it ran as smoothly as it could from my side. And then after I think it was maybe a week or two, I got offered for the assistant choreographer role, and that was the moment that set everything. It set everything off for me. It changed everything. And I remember getting the email. I had to fly to Florida for a heartbreak competition. Like I was going to the airport that day, and I got the email from the producer, and I cried in the car, and I had a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings. You don't think that everything that you work leads to like a single point, but at that moment, it felt like everything that I did, sticking through the roller skating, through COVID, sticking through the roller skating when everybody left the rinks and nobody was there, and through many phases of friends that came in and out, and then I'm here and I take a chance on myself. I'm in a city I've never lived in before, barely been to, and I work my ass off, and here I am, and I get 3 roles in a show, and this is the moment that like in hindsight changed my life, altered my thinking of like I can do this in this aspect, that in the entertainment aspect. And so that was it.
Yo, there's two things that you said, like 2 major things that stuck out to me in that whole thing. The first of which, I mean, there are a lot of things, but the 2 things that really stuck out to me were you had said, because you could have gone and just, been this double, right? Been like the actor, right? You could have done that and bam, and then you move on. But you said, but you wanted to make it as good as possible. So like, it wasn't just about you doing your job, right? Like, I hate that mentality of like, that's not my job kind of thing.
Oh,
right?
yeah, no.
Yeah. So like, but you were like, no, I'm going to like, my job is to help make all of this better. But by doing that, right, like by stepping in and being and offering, just being of service wherever you can, this other aspect of what you have to offer gets noticed and leads to this choreography thing. You know what I mean? Which is like, that's a major thing I don't think people should overlook in the sense of like, yeah, I could have, all those things. And look, and if you would have gone and just done this acting thing or whatever, like, and gone, like, that's great. It's fantastic. But like, you suit up, you show up, and like, you just find ways to like, to be of service and to like help this thing beyond just yourself. And people notice, man. People look, like that's what opportunities are made of. It's not about what you got picked for. We already know you can do that. What else can you do? And it's what people.
Yeah,
it's
that
when,
part.
Yeah, man. People are watching. Like it's when we don't know people are watching, man. Where it matters.
That's it. That's it.
You know,
leadership qualities. I had a lot of leadership qualities. And by the way, I was, like I said, I was 19 at that point. I think maybe 18. But I used to be a manager at a Raising Cane. So like as soon as I turned 18, I literally became a manager because I was working there for a few months before I was 17. And I told them, like, I want to create this. When I was 17, I had just moved out of my mom's house. And I was like, I want to create a path for myself here. I don't know where that path leads to. And I said this to the manager. I was like, but I know I want to be a manager by the time I'm 18, right? So this is X amount of months. Shout out to Jen from Kane. She still works there. And so I did the path. I became a manager. And that's where I learned like how to really talk to people, how to really integrate with people, and how to be a leader, and how to really be a leader in the corporate world. But that shifts over to the entertainment world, because in the entertainment world, it's that, but 10 times like stricter, but also like 10 times not as strict, because there's some aspects. It's the relationships. Yeah. So I was able to I built so many relationships in my first few days. I built relationships with the actors. I built relationships with the production managers. I built relationships with the acting coaches. I built relationships with my other fellow skaters. And that all led to and I did choreography. I'm a dancer, right? And so when they see, like you said, that leadership, that reaching out, that putting 110% effort in, combined with the experience and being like, Dylan, what do you think about this? And I'm just like, oh, what if we did like a beady bop bop bop? And then they're like, oh yeah. And then they do that a few more times and you're like, okay. And so, yeah, it was all about creating the relationships and then maintaining the relationships. But you have to be good at creating relationships in order to really succeed and thrive, because you're not going to succeed off of talent alone. That's like for the 0.00001% of people. Like there's only a few people who are really going to survive off of just talent alone. You have to be, you think about any kind of like pro league player, right, who has all the talent in the world, but if they can't manage their relationships with their team right, or then they lose money. So it's the same thing everywhere in the world. You have to be able to nourish healthy relationships with everybody, the catering crew, the cleaning crew, everybody that's on set, wherever you might be at. So
yeah, man.
Yeah, I was really good I love talking to people.
Well, and that's the thing too, because sometimes people say too, like, it's all you know, and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, well, yeah, but don't make it like I just tripped over these connections. You know what I mean? That takes work. You know what I mean? Like yeah. That is half of it. And really what it is this thing about it's all who you know kind of thing. It's like, yeah, but that's half of the work. And two, that is literally the basis of like nobody can do this all alone. So it is all who you know, but you got to go out and know them. You got to go out.
You got to put your
yeah.
How you in the room? How are you in the room? How are you going to get into the room? If you get your foot in the door, but how you get to that point? That's the question that everybody wants to know. How do I meet such and such?
Yeah, man. Yeah, because look, there's a component to it too, where like some people like have success like where, and I know people. There was a part of my career where it was very much like I was faking it till I could make it kind of thing. But like I knew how to talk to people and I knew how to do certain things. But that second thing I wanted to mention that I didn't want to overlook, because you talked about this all led to this, right? Like all this the work and the hours and the effort and all this kind of stuff, and staying through COVID and all that kind of stuff. Because especially nowadays, man, we live in this social media world where people just look at finished products. You know what I'm saying? That's all they see. And like, I don't know if you agree with this, but like I was having this conversation with somebody. I feel like the reason like a lot of times we peak in certain things, or plateau is because we think that like, we get good at something and then like we kind of just continue to do it that way, and
Yeah.
we almost trick ourselves into thinking that we're practicing. And
Right.
to me, it's like I never really believe I'm truly practicing unless it kind of sucks. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, because practice is like what I'm doing when I don't know what the hell I'm doing too well. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But my main point is like there's a whole host of there's thousands and thousands of hours. I mean, how many hours are you there skating, doing like falling over and over and over again, trying to get something right?
I,
You know what I mean? When no one else
I
is
couldn't
around.
equate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's it's a lot of time that people just don't see, and that's what bothers me about social media,
Mm-hmm.
right? And like going back to like the Ron video of like people,
I want to get
you
into
know,
this.
yeah, people commenting,
Have you seen this
stuff and
dude though? Have you seen
yeah,
this guy?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's like, of course, like you think I'm like this deep in the skate world, and I, we don't know who. Of course, somebody who has, only been in the jam skate world, who has literally, Ron Usos watched me grow up skating. Like he literally has seen me since I was a kid, and I remember, like, I always remember Ron coming up to me and telling me, like, every time he saw me, no matter if it was a week to week, he would see me like, "You're special," right? So of course he's gonna have these feelings about me as a skater. And then you have people who seem to like feel the need to interject their opinion, which is like totally cool, right? Because everybody has an opinion. That's why you put videos out there, right? But in a way that like tears people down, it doesn't tear me down because I don't care, right? Like I've gotten to a point where like I've had to shield myself from any emotions with what anybody
Yep.
comments on anything on my post, right?
Yep.
I've been dealing with this since I was young. And so, but I usually don't respond to things, right? And there's so many. Facebook is the worst because Facebook's usually like older people, right? And so and they really will go off, right? But I try not to respond, not because like I want to take the high road or like, and I just don't care, right? But
Mhm.
then there's times where like, yeah, I got the time of day. Like at some point, like, I'm just gonna go back. I'll go back and forth with somebody
Yeah.
because I don't, it's nothing to me. Like it's having a conversation, right? You're telling me, you comment on a post like, "Oh, you haven't been to the hood in Atlanta yet." Well, actually, sir, let me tell you about the time that when I was 18 years old and I went to Atlanta for the first time and I had on these short ass shorts and I looked like a freaking weird skater and I got called out by a guy who skates in Atlanta in his whole life, and then I mopped him with the floor, mopped the floor with him, right? Like, but these people don't know who I am, right? They don't
Right,
know
right.
my stories, but they still feel the need to comment, which is cool. The engagement went great. Like as soon as I started replying to people's comments and I started going back and forth with these people, it went from like 200 likes to like 600 to like 100 comments, and I'm just like, this is great, right? The engagement is good, and I want people to know that like, no, I don't want to be the best, right? And I don't think I'm the best. I have said it many times. Like, if you ask me who I think the best skater is, like the best roller skater, like I've ever seen, I'll tell you down, hands down, it's Bobby West, right?
All
Like,
right.
and just pure roller skating skill. I've loved watching him skate, right? But people just don't know that like I have relationships with all these people that they're trying to tell me, like they're like,
Yeah, yeah.
ah. Right, but I'm not afraid of none of these people. I battled every single one of them. I battled Bobby, right? I lost to Bobby, So it's like I've been in the spaces, right? Me and Bobby went 1-2. I've actually never battled T Stacks, but I battled with T Stacks when I was 14, right? And we did a lottery for a summer jam, and I didn't even know who he was. And so like, but I would never be afraid to step toe to toe with any skater. I don't, because on any given day it could be their day, and on any given day it could be my day, right? If we're battling, and all these people they are listing aren't people who battle all the time, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they're not there to compete. Like I'm truly not really there to compete anymore. I still do compete, but like that's not my main focus. So it just is funny. It's funny watching people feel super comfortable voicing their opinion on social media, even if it means that they're tearing down whoever is in that video. And luckily, it's me in the video, so like I don't care, and I'm gonna clap back at you. But like, say if it's another kid, right, or another, and somebody is like tearing them down, it's so bad for like the community and the culture and. But yeah, that video was fun. I love going back to it. People keep commenting new things on it. I'm keeping myself updated.
Well, I'm gonna hold to it, man. Like, and as far as like my opinion goes, yeah, maybe I cause more problems for you right now, but but like nah, man. Like I'm saying, like when like no, dude, like the videos of battles and shit that I've seen you skate in person. It's funny. I think like a year ago you were in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. Wilkes-Barre Skateaway. I swear to God.
I don't. Was I?
I think so. It was like a year or something ago. I don't know.
Maybe.
Maybe not. But anyway, like the fact that, like, as far as like what I like look and like what I super like respect is like I watch you do things, but it like, and it's like holy, like how does he make that look that easy? Like
Yeah.
and I don't take away like, and I think I made this clear in that video where I in no way ever want to take away the fact that I know that there are thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of practice that go into making that look
Right.
that way. I respect it completely. But I'm saying when it comes to, especially because dude, when in the jam thing, any the time you get into that b-boy thing, there's like this next level where it's like okay, yeah, you look like you're breakdancing with heavy ass roller skates on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like where it's just like that's not fluid, that's not clean, that doesn't.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I can do it, but I know what doesn't look right. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Like,
You can tell.
yeah. And so, but I'm saying there are aspects to what you do that, and it's so funny because you mentioned about being a dancer, ballet, hip hop, all this kind of stuff. The fact is that what like I was watching in that video, what I was watching at Castle, and although it's a very, very, I know that it wasn't you going off crazy, but the fact is like that was an interpretive dance to music, is what was happening.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and I saw you dance to not just the song, the lyrics, like the tempo, the beat, right? Like, and b-boy, we call it killing the beat or whatever, right? Like,
Yeah.
but like, yeah, like, but what I see you do that I think is that stands out among a lot of high level skaters. For me, I look at it and I'm like, that guy makes the hardest things look like he just decided right now to try it. And it was like,
Usually that's what it is. That's usually what it is.
But you've done it. You've done it before. Like I'm just saying, like you make impossible things look very easy. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Maybe it'll help you for me to tell you that like when I'm skating and I'm not practicing, it feels easy, right? Because skating is like walking to me, right? Yes. Skating is but obviously when I'm practicing, it's not easy, right? I still have so many flaws in my game that like I want to iron out, that I want to really get better at, that I'm still working on now. And there's so many new things that I want to learn. I'm inspired by all the skaters that I see and that I'm around. So like I still have so many more levels to go. But like I always just try to do what the music tells me, right? And so in the process of just moving to the music and enjoying that, I learned that I can do things that I haven't done before because I'm not controlling my body, right? Like the music is controlling my body. And so it's gonna pull myself in different movements that like truly I can't explain. Like I can't tell you the amount of times like I'll finish a set and then I'll be done and then I'll have people looking at me like, yo, what the like, and I'm like, yo, I don't understand how my body does it, but I'm so comfortable on my skates that no matter what position I put myself on roller skates, I'm gonna always find a way to the next spot, right?
Mm.
Like, and I save myself so well that you don't even know that I'm saving it. And in my brain, I'm doing this set, and then like I'll know that I messed something up, and then I watch a video, and it's like, oh, like you could literally barely tell, like if to a common person, and so
Right.
like, it's always
Right.
critiquing myself, always trying to like fine tune, and yeah, like I still have so much more to go. There's so many styles that like I want to really lock in with, and like snapping, and that's like the one that I'm really trying to practice now. But I never stress myself to practice all the time now. That's not
Mm.
what I do. Like I don't practice that much. And it's in a sense of like I know that like every time I go to the rink, I'm practicing this, right? When I go to the rink, I go to release now, right? I go to just skate. But in turn of like skating, I
Yeah.
am practicing because it's all freestyle. So I'm just constantly freestyling. And then in the
Yeah.
midst of these freestyles, I'll be like, okay, well, maybe I don't want to just freestyle in the center
You
right now.
find it.
Maybe I want to go on the avenue, right? Maybe I don't want to skate super fast around right now. Maybe I want to plan traffic and kind of like maneuver around people, and maybe I only want to go to my right side. So I kind of find these little objectives that I do. And so like every session's like a skate practice, right? But it's not like or like if I'm training for like a specific competition, like I'm practicing tonight when I go to the rink because I know I have these specific things. I got to get my combos down, I got to get these things together to figure out what I'm going to do when if I go to Summer Jam. And so yeah, like yeah, the work never stops. If you come to if you could watch me on a normal session on our adult nights, like I'm the guy who's changing 4 times. I change my shirt 3 to 4 times. I'm the guy that never leaves the floor. And you could ask anybody in that ring. Like I work harder than anybody in that ring when I'm on the floor. I
Yeah.
don't care. Like nobody leaves that floor unless the music was terrible. Because there's often times where the flow is just not there, right? And
Yeah.
if the
Yeah.
flow's not there, I don't care how much people say it. Yes, I can practice, but I'm at the point where I don't practice without a flow, right? Like
Mm.
yes, if you're working on something like a specific skill, yes, go practice, right? But like if I'm at the ring and the vibe isn't right for me, and I feel it from other people too, then I'm just not, I'm not, I don't go crazy. But most of like 99%
Yeah.
of the time I'm skating, I'm going crazy. Yeah.
Well, I can tell you right now. So, like, it's so funny. And you ask anybody that skates with me on the regular, they're going to tell you that I'm going to change my shirt like 2 or 3 times, like
Yeah.
because but not because I'm out there doing like the craziest shit. It's because I'm out of shape. You know what I mean? Just sweating my ass off is what it really is. I'm not going to front on that at all.
Ah.
But so okay, but I want to get into this. I want to get into this one thing. So
Mhm.
a little while back, so funny, man. This is so funny. Like I get this phone call because from I got actually 2 of them from this casting agents, right?
Yeah.
Because somebody like threw them my way, and they're telling me about this upcoming like competition that's going to be on TV, and they heard that I was with a crew and all this kind of stuff, and I immediately am like, shut that shit down. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
that's not even close. Like I don't, like no, that's not what I do. Like but it was so intriguing, you know what I mean, like to talk to them about it and stuff. And I know you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it was really funny because I talked to this one lady, and then she called me back like the next day, and she's like, are you sure? And I'm like, lady, what? I'm telling you right now, like, I'm not the guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm telling, yeah, but we got your name from this person and this influencer and that influencer. And I'm like, yeah, because they're old. And I like, that's it. Like, I'm like I'm the youngest old guy of these people, right?
That's so funny.
I'm like, trust me. I'm like, and she's like, yeah, but I saw these videos online. I'm like, what you saw online were very carefully cultivated, clipped together. I'm like, it's two steps away from CGI, lady. I'm telling you.
Oh my God.
No, I'm not. I can't hate on myself that much. But anyway, so what comes to end up being Roller Jam, is what comes to this. So where are you? When do you get this call? When does it first come up? You know what I mean? And yeah, how's that unfold?
I don't exactly remember where I was, but I had got reached out. That was terrible English. They had reached out to me, and I wanted to get a team together in Cincinnati. And the issue I was having with that was the commitment from other people, because
Yeah.
in Cincinnati, like we don't get these opportunities. Like skaters don't just go and do these things. So they don't know how to take something super serious. How to present yourself, how to do these things. And so like I tried really hard, and then that fizzled out. And so then I got a call from Darian Reyes.
Wait,
And
hang on one sec. So are you saying you were kind of worried about like taking some people with no home training or something like that? Is that what you're
no,
saying?
not I guess no, because it was like from the very get go, people weren't as enthusiastic as they should have
Okay.
been, and as like prompt as they should have been.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah.
if off the bat you're showing me that, I don't want it.
You're not professional.
You're not professional, right? You got to be at least excited about the opportunity, and like you got to fill out the freaking paperwork, right? Like you gotta text the group chat to set the meeting time and things like that. And so like I didn't see that out of enough people, and so I didn't think about it. And then Darian Reyes called me, and he was like honor roll, and we I have known everybody in honor roll since I was a baby, right? Like Darian lived in Cincinnati. That's who introduced me to roller skating. That's my brother. Everybody there, it's like family. So it was already like it wasn't like I was a part of the group, but like more and more my life started revolving around that group, right? Like I was with Darian when his big break happened in LA, and I kind of like same thing. I've like watched Brandon grow into the star he is, and Diamond I've like learned from him. And so it made sense. They were like, we need this extra member. It could be you, it could be this other guy. I want it to be you. And I'm like, I'm in, like, let's do it. I remember that. I remember our first call, I was on tour, and I was in Berlin, Germany, and it was like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. there. And I had to take this Zoom meeting with Honor Roll and the producers. And that was kind of like my sign of like, okay, this is real. This is cool. Like I can see this. I have some concerns, but I can see this going through and this being like a legit thing. And from the moment that I knew who I was going on it with, there was no question.
Nice. So you get there, like, what's it like, how long was it that you're like, are you traveling back and forth? Are you staying
Three
somewhere for weeks? Like,
3 weeks. We were in New Orleans. The honorable team, we got together in Tampa a week before. So we were in Tampa Bay getting all the promo together and starting our routine, starting to get everything together, because mind you, we live in different parts of the
yeah,
states.
yeah.
Yeah, so like everybody's in different parts. So it's like we all had to come together for a week. Then we shot in New Orleans. So we shot at a rink, and we stayed down in the French quarters, and we shot kind of outside. And not at the rink. We were on set. Sorry. So they built a rink on set,
Right.
and the stage. And that was it. So yeah, we would travel back and forth for that. Um, and I'm sure you probably have more questions about it. So about the show. I mean, it was awesome. It's a lot. Like we could have a whole nother episode about the show,
Oh,
but
hell yeah.
is there what I mean in specific, is there something you want to know about it?
Well, I kind of want to know that. Well, yeah, we could have a whole nother thing on it because it probably could go deep. But I got to ask this. So, like, one was, because I watched it. So this might be a hard question. Like, but like, okay, how much are you seeing the other skaters like do their thing? Is it just during, like, you must see them practice? You guys must. How much interaction are you having in seeing what they're doing? And I'll just throw this in, and
Yeah.
basically, like, was there a point where you guys were like, oh, dude, we got this.
Yeah, I got great answer for that one too. So I'll start with the first question. The first question, we saw each other a decent amount, and so what they did was they rented out these big warehouse studios with concrete floors, and they split it into two, and that's where we would practice. So we would never really see them practicing. We couldn't see their routine. We never saw them perform unless it was the episode where we battled each other. So we never got to see anybody's performance. Like we had no clue, totally in the dark. We obviously it was a very small
Yeah.
I guess it's not really that small. This our holding area, like where everybody kind of stayed, where the dressing rooms were, where they, it started with 10 crews. So you think 10 crews, you got about 30 to 40 people there. And so it was very crammed at first, but it opened up and we would see each other there. We'd have our own room, but there was common areas. And at the beginning, people didn't really know like whether to like be cool with each other. And then like as stuff started to get real and like literally people were leaving, literally like out the door, it was like, okay, like this is serious. And so we stopped like people kind of like didn't really like, we obviously are all still friends, right? But more into their rooms. But during the whole show, like we saw each other all the time. We're in the same hotel. We're in the same holding area. Like, yeah.
Okay.
And then the second part of the question. The moment I knew, okay, so we all fly into New Orleans and we get this van, and they get a van from the airport to the hotel. And I don't think anybody knew up to this point that I was doing it.
Okay.
Like, I think I posted very minimally. Like, if you knew that I was doing it, it was, you got it from somebody. You know somebody special. So
right.
we all get to the hotel, and like most of the people are outside, standing outside, like the competitors. So we see like a bunch of them. So they open the door, right? Oh, boom! One person pops out, and you're just watching all their faces. Next person pops out, and then finally, like I come out of the van, and you could just see everybody's face, like they're like, and him, and it was just like that. Because mentally, they're already messed up, right?
Yeah, because you're coming off Super Bowl in their mind, right? Like,
yeah. That was right after Super Bowl, and that was that right before the tour? Yeah, I literally went from the Super Bowl for a month straight to the filming, straight to tour right after. So like I was like at that moment, I felt like I was at the height of wherever moment I was at that, like not in my career, but I was popping at that point. So and then I get out I get out, and then everybody's like, "Holy, the Avengers just stepped out the freaking van." Right. And that, like, truthfully, like that was a moment where like I had no doubt in my mind that as long as we did what we did and there were moments where I doubted it throughout the season, right? But in that moment, I was like, "Oh, yeah."
Well, they lost in their own. They lost in their own mind. That's what you were seeing.
They lost. Yeah, and they already lost to me. Like you already just told me, like you're scared. Right. Like your reaction says it all. Don't react to me like that. You gotta like, right? It's like, because it's like, yo, at some point, like you gotta be able to hide some kind of like emotion, because skill level sometimes does not matter. Any given night, somebody could mess up. Mm-hmm. Somebody could fall, and it could be your shot. Yeah. But you already lost that shot, because now I know you're scared. I'm playing into that the whole time. Yeah. Like, and
it is funny though, dude. Like to think about these cats, like just standing there watching the All-Stars, like single file out of this vehicle, and then it's like the last, it's the dude with Usher who the Super Bowl. Come on, man, come on, like you know what I mean? Like it's just it's Scotty, Michael, like,
the whole
deal. That's hilarious.
Whole team popped out,
but it
was. Go ahead.
That's so funny that you recognize that in people's faces, though, man. That's awesome. Yeah. But
I think we had a conversation after. I literally told him, I was like, "Did y'all see that? You should know."
Yeah, man. Are you aware? I mean, I'm sure you are. You must be aware. Like, so because the Super Bowl thing happened, and I don't want to glance over that. Mm-hmm. People are going to be like, "How come you didn't ask him about the Super Bowl?" Because there was like. Here's something, man, that like I don't know, and you know what? People like you come at me and you tell me how someone made the impact that you had for skaters, right? Being there, like it wasn't just about like, like Usher's roller skating. It was like the way that I saw it getting passed around line, the way people were talking about it was like, look what this dude like got to do for skating, had the chance, had the opportunity to be on
Yeah.
this stage as a skater. Like, are
Yep.
you aware of that? Like, did you kind of see it that way too? Like
Yeah.
bringing it to the forefront like that?
I recognize the magnitude of the situation. And there's there's so many ways you can look at it, right? Because like you said, like I embodied the moment for roller skating,
Yes.
not necessarily for myself. The personal accolade will always be there, right? But in that time, in that moment, like I embodied, we all the skaters that were there, we all embodied it for the one thing that brought us together, right? That we never thought we would be able to be in these positions, and here we are, and these 10 people from all different walks of life. And so you feel the magnitude, right? I felt the magnitude from when from when I got the call that I was, and from when I got the email that I was booked. Like, I knew how important it was. And even after the fact, I think the craziest thing for me is doing the Super Bowl and being a part of that experience has allowed me to elevate not only myself and roller skating, but the city I live in to a new space, and has allowed me to enter new ventures where I get to be a connoisseur of roller skating and
Mm.
pass roller skating on to hundreds of kids, hundreds of adults, and really make roller skating a prominent thing. And for example, for schools, right? So like the Super Bowl gave me the notoriety, which allowed me to do these camps with schools, which then turned out to be an after school program where I turned this year, we did sessions all year and we served over 120 students. And so, and then next year we're looking to do hundreds and more. And so the Super Bowl, it has so many lasting impacts that people won't hear about for,
Mm-hmm.
5, 10 years. And it really put it didn't put it back in the limelight for most roller
Right.
skaters, right? Because roller skating has always been. So like when you say that and you say like it brought it to the forefront, I always hesitate to say that because skating has always been at the forefront for me,
Yeah.
but it brought skating to the forefront for a whole new audience of people who
Yes.
have probably roller skated before, but maybe inspired thousands and thousands of people to pick their roller skates back up, to search roller skating, to buy roller skates, to go attend a roller skating class. And like even to till this day, that's what I get recognized as.
Yeah.
Like I I could walk down the street and I've had times where people were like, "You're that guy who skated with Usher." Like
Mhm.
that is like the number one thing that people kind of like talk to me about when they see me. And so like the effects of it still haven't stopped. Like it literally still hasn't. It has continued strong to this day. So I do understand how important it was, and that's why like I was just super honored to be chosen. But I put myself in the position, right? I flew to LA to do the audition, right? I spent the money on the flight. I spent the money on the rental car. I spent the money on the hotel, not knowing if I was gonna do it. And I waited the long weeks not knowing, and then I canceled work so that so it's like all these things had to happen to get to this moment. And that's how I know it's a big moment, because I made all these sacrifices for
Mm.
it and I did all these things for it, which is true for every other person that did, true for every other person that did that. Sorry, my somebody tried to FaceTime me and it picked up on my Mac. Um, but yeah, everybody went through the sacrifice, and that's how you know it's a super important moment. And you know that it's gonna. You don't recognize how big the impacts will be, but you know that they're gonna be there. And like looking at it now and reflecting, like my skates are at the rink in Dayton, like they're kind of like in a thing, and it kind of got a poster with them. And I think it really served as inspiration for the many children, the many adults watching, and the many roller skaters watching, the young roller skaters who maybe have seen some of it, but then they realize like there is a level to it, right? There
Mm.
is a way, there is a path, right? There's a
There's an
path. We're
opportunity.
creating the new path. There's an opportunity, right? And it might not be the Super Bowl, but it could be this, right? It could be that. But you have to make that opportunity, and they get to see it and be inspired. So I was inspired on the stage to know that like as a collective, everybody on that stage, including Usher, is inspiring people to find roller skating, and now like I'm helping people find roller skating in my own city, and really trying to start kind of this program where people feel comfortable coming to the roller rinks, and people have a space to come and learn, and really, because there's a lot of people who want to learn how to roller skate, but they don't know how, right? And maybe they don't want to go to the rinks to do it. Maybe they want to be a private. Maybe they want to, there's so many things that have come from the Super Bowl. It still blows my mind. It's still crazy. People recognize me from the Super Bowl. It took everything to another level for me.
Yeah, well, and because you refer to it like as your moment, right? And what's crazy about it is you talked about like the travel, the weeks of hanging out in a hotel, and just trying to figure it out, and all this time and preparation, right? Just to even figure out if you're even going to get a chance, right? And then and it's very limited, like camera time for you in that moment, right?
Yeah, you don't even know.
Yeah, compared to like HBO Max's like thing where it's like weeks and episodes of camera in your face. But this is the thing that everybody notices. So like I think it can't get lost upon like all this time, all this preparation, all the things that you dropped your own dime and in multiple ways to go make that happen, weeks and weeks and weeks, not knowing what was going to be. And yeah, it's a moment, but look at the result of it. You know what I mean? Like it's amazing, dude. Like it's huge. Yeah. And I gotta say, like, I think what I watched happen, I was really, really happy because yes, I totally agree. Like skating, like, because people would get in that debate too. Like Usher didn't bring back skating. I've been here. Yeah. All that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, okay. But like we're talking about mainstream, you know what I mean, type stuff.
Yeah.
But let me say this, man. Here's the thing. There are like artists, music artists, right? Because now it's like getting the Super Bowl halftime show is like one of the pinnacles of any musician's career, right? It's huge. It's huge. Think about how many artists, huge artists, are never going to get on that stage that want it so bad. And as a result of skating, you got on that stage, dude.
Yeah.
Like how crazy is that, man?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying like, I'm not trying to like be like, oh, Dylan don't know what he got. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like, it's a huge thing, man. And I'm happy for you. I'm happy for what it means for skating. You know what I mean? But I'm happy, but like,
thank you.
But just like that kid, like when you were a kid and you showed up at Castle the first time and you saw those cats out there doing things that like, you were like, yo, I want to do that. Like how many millions of kids were watching that moment being like, yo, I want to do that. It wasn't just that you're
afterwards. Dude, it
was in front of it was in front of the world, man.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
I can't imagine a better feeling, dude.
Yeah. And I mean, in the moment, you can't really process it because you're trying to hit your marks and you're trying not to mess up, and you're trying to execute a backflip right in front of will.i.am while there's like a camera that's coming around and you're going around a corner and you just did a 540. And by the way, like you have sunglasses on and it's darker than they ever made it dark. And so like you can't bear it. So it's like in the moment when you're performing, but I'll tell you what, the coolest thing was, I get goosebumps thinking about it, man. Like, we're underneath the stadium beforehand, and we're going onto the field. And we got our skates, and we have all these cars. They got to push out all the equipment first, right? And then the talent we go in after, and we're walking up these steps, man. And SoFi Stadium is just lit up, and you can hear it. I mean, you can hear just like the buzz of people because they know the halftime. Everybody knows the halftime show is coming.
Yep.
And then we walk out there with the skates. And we have to walk to the other side of the field. So we're walking 120 plus yards and just watching people just freak out, seeing all the things that are happening. And that's just a moment I'll never forget. Like I was in my own world and it just felt like I was the superstar, and you can't compare it to anything you've ever. And then the performance happened, and we had to run. We had slides on for the turf because we couldn't wear our skates on turf. So we had slides on. We carried our skates. we ran onto stage during the performance, ran onto stage while obviously the cameras are, somewhere else. And we get up on our platform and we put our skates on, we zip them up, and we're just sitting there. Ooh. And like we have like 30 seconds before we have to actually move. And all the guys were just like hyping each other up and like the energy. And then like you have all of the because they have people who aren't like they're not paid to be there, but they're dancers and they're kind of like the crowd. And you got those people just like hyping you up. And I swear, like I've never been more nervous, excited, stressed, and like ready to go all in one. It was a surreal moment. So yeah.
Is that the pinnacle for you so far?
No,
No.
no. I think in terms of like mainstream, yes.
Okay.
But in terms of like personal accomplishments, no. I did a solo world tour that I planned myself, where I went to over 10 countries that I did successfully. That I taught, I think over like 500 students. Like to me, to be able to like be sitting at home at night and like have these ideas in your head, and then one night just like get on your laptop and plan it all out and schedule and reach out to 20 countries and have a proposal letter and book the venues and book the flights and book the transportation and contact each host with nobody helping you except for having a graphic designer design your flyers. Like that's been the most proud I've ever been to like complete something like that. Super Bowl is the pinnacle in terms of mainstream, but like in terms of my personal accomplishments, like nothing has topped. I got to see the world doing the thing that I love, spreading it to people who, as a kid, I didn't think there was a way out.
Yeah.
I lived in a place where like my surroundings were not, I didn't have good surroundings. I lived in the hood. And so like, growing up, I always felt like the kid with the head on his shoulders. I was the one who was trying to do good in school. And I got invited to like the math club at school and different things. And I got tested into a different special high school, and I went to that high school for a little bit. And so, but to be on tour and like see all these people and meet all these people who have had such a impact. You've had such an impact to their life that you have no idea. And when you hear the stories, it like makes you feel like you got to keep going, because there's thousands more of people out there like that. And you want to just keep spreading that love. And so like, that's my favorite accomplishment. I got to see like Dubai. I got to see almost every single country in Europe that like I really wanted to see. And I got to go to Canada for the first time and do it in the States. It was just a surreal experience. It was like 2 months of like, holy shoot, what am I doing right now? It was crazy.
And it's something that like you had this vision and you like breathed life into this thing, man. Like you like you saw this thing and like you just made it happen, man. You like that's so
documents and spreadsheets.
I'm sure that's all it is. I'm sure that's all it is. Man, that's amazing though, dude. Like, no, because I mean, even from like like when something doesn't exist and you make it happen. And look, there are a lot of things sometimes that like, happy accidents and things like that happen, and whatever. But like, I don't know, man. Like when you like have an idea or a vision for something and you go and like in just with your will, you go make that happen. And I don't know, man, like, and not only that, but you get to sit, you like, as you get to see the results of it and be like, no, that's what I meant to do. I meant it to do this. And it did it. I can't, it's an amazing feeling. And
it's crazy.
It happens at all levels for people, whatever that happens to be for you, man. So congratulations, man. Good for you, dude.
Thank you. And then I did it again.
Yeah.
And I did another tour. So it wasn't as big, but it was like, artists are paying people to plan their tours. Artists, no artist is planning, there are a few out there, right? But like you said, I took nothing and I made it into what it was. And so then I did it again, and I'll do it again this year. Hopefully. We'll see.
Oh man. Yo, man, well, we have hit an hour and a half, dude. This has been
It's
good.
crazy.
Yeah, man.
Because we could keep going. Like, I have another hour and a half in me.
Oh,
I've been
man.
waiting to do one of these.
Oh, dude. Well, I tell you what, well, we will definitely circle back around. We will do this again, man, because we'll
Yeah.
talk. We'll talk because, like, I bet, yeah, we could probably get into like a whole thing, like a behind the scenes thing about
Yeah.
roller jam.
Roller jam, behind the scenes of roller jam. I want people to know my childhood. Like, I want people to know like how I grew up, and like people have these like uh false identities of me, and people speak
What do you think the most common thing is that people misinterpret about that?
that I've had it easy, right? Or like, on social media, um, people like, for example, in that video, it's like people bring my race into it a lot. People bring what I look like into it a lot, and so like, um, it's unfortunate, but like I want people to know who the real me is, because nothing in my life I have gotten everything from like sacrificing, and just like, and my childhood, it wasn't good, and I was like a diamond in the rough, and I leaned on a lot of people around me, and I made my connections, and I built my relationships even at a young age. And so like I want people to kind of see and hear like the struggles that I went through, and like how that shapes the way I react and do different things today. And so just to clear up any misunderstandings and that people may have about me, and I've been wanting to get my story out for a while. I don't know if you recognize, but like I'm not very open on social media. I post a lot of videos that people take of me, and there was a time in my life where like I was speaking in the camera, but I don't like doing that anymore. And so I'm not very personal on social media. I don't interact a lot with people on social media. Like it's just not it's not my thing. And so like I want people to see like that side of me. But I don't want to, I don't want to like always be the one putting that out. So doing like
Yeah,
podcasts are nice
yeah,
because, people get to see like little glimpses. So definitely down to do another one.
yeah, man. Hell yeah, dude. Like, so and it's crazy too, man, because shit, I'll say it, whatever. You know, like in this time where like we think we're so evolved. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
Hmm.
we think we like people think they're like we think we're so woke and we think we're so this and we're so that. And I gotta say, man, I don't remember a time where we have, especially in the world of social media, where you get a 30-second clip of this person or that person or a 60-second clip, and we dwindle people down to the most simplistic, stereotypical bullshit ever,
Hmm.
and
Yep.
have no concept of like, regardless of what this person looks like, talks like, sounds like, acts like, whatever, that is a person with
Yep.
what, let's say, 24 years of life experience, like a life experience that shaped who
Hmm.
they are, that you cannot encapsulate because you
Yeah.
saw a reel on Instagram. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and it drives me bonkers. And like, to be perfectly honest with you, people hear me talk about it all the time. And on here, that's what I really wanted to do, was
Yeah.
like, because we do that, man. Like, we take people and we're like, oh, like you see like this 30-second, 60-second video, and it's like, I mean, I've been guilty of it, right? But I can look at it and be like, oh yeah, I know how that person came up. I know what their political views are. I know what they think about this. I know what they think about that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's like, dude, what are you talking about? There's an
Yep.
entire unique, like, years of a person right there that you
Yeah.
can't do that to.
Now imagine being 50% black and 50% white, and
That's what I'm saying.
hearing it from both sides,
Oh,
literally since you've been a kid. Like you're either too good for one side or you're not good enough for the other side, or in the winters I get less sun and I look a little bit whiter, and so like it all plays into it. And so like that's why I've always turned away from social media, because it happened since I was a kid. In the skate world, outside of the skate world, like especially on social media, like people, and for first impressions, like people just comment and say the craziest stuff, basing it off of the race of a person, which you might not even know. Like you might
right,
not,
right,
like
right,
you said,
right.
you have no idea. And so it's like, yeah, it's wild. Some people have gotten so comfortable. People have gotten so comfortable on social media that they'll say whatever they want, but they would never step into a rink and say it to me, right? Like, and that's why I say, like, not step to my face, right? Because I never solve anything with anger, right? Like, if you're talking shit about my skating, meet me at the rink and then see me on the floor. And then I want you to watch me skate for 30 seconds and I'll prove everything you said wrong. Right.
Yeah.
And so like that's where I've gotten to. But people are so comfortable. They comment whatever they want. But hey, that's their experience. I try to think about it like that too. Like, that's their experience. That's what they're experiencing. They felt the need to comment that. Like, okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna comment back. And if I do, don't get mad, okay?
Dude, man, it's funny, man. I thought I was gonna have a tougher time with that kind of stuff, like the kickback from social media and everything. And I've gotten like a little, you know, I get stuff here and there, but like, yeah, it's funny, man. Like it didn't affect me the way I thought it would. But then I also compare it to people that I know, women that I know. You know what I mean? That like social media figures. God, the shit I see, you know what I mean, get directed at them. It's insane. You know, yeah, man. The fact is like people just like it just baffles me that like we think we live in like this such an evolved woke world, and it's like, nah, dude, no, like we are worse than ever at just basically breaking people down to the most simplistic ideas and stereotypes based on what we see. Like we wrap people up in like a little you know bow and whatever in 2 seconds flat all the time, and it's like, dude, get off it, man.
The human connection is getting worse as the social media is getting more expansive. You know, that human connection is no longer what it was 100 years ago, you know, where you had to ask your neighbor for, you know, for groceries, or, you know, you had to actually like socialize with other people. And then you can realize that's where the empathy comes in, right? Where you see like, oh, like there's so many different people. That's why I like traveling.
That's a real person.
That's a real person, right? Like they have feelings. Like I don't even know what they went through before this, but like, you know, that makes me feel, you know, I feel for them as a human, right? We've lost that because we look at each other through phone screens. And that's why I try to stay off of social media the best I can, because I don't want to live my life through social media. I make my impact in person with people. Like that's my thing. It's like I make my impact in person. Social media is just for me to inspire the people who want to watch the skate stuff, right? Here's a little bit of skate stuff, but like I try to make my impact in person because I don't do the whole social media stuff. Like I want tangible, like I want to see it. I want to, you know, build it. So
here's my barometer, and like this is how. So people, you can whatever. I don't give a shit. I'll probably offend somebody with this, but here's my barometer. Okay, if you're about to post something about somebody, right? If you're about to comment about somebody, you know, like especially somebody you don't know, but you just have this opinion, you just think you know, right? Like about this person, this woman, this man, whatever. You just think you got some type of insight, right? The question I need that you have to ask yourself is: the last time your doorbell rang, did you hide? Did you peek through the blinds at the delivery dude and prefer that he leave it on the doorstep because you can't even face the DoorDash guy? Because if that's how you are, dude, shut up, move on. If
move on.
You're a punk. You're a punk.
Yeah.
If you're living in a world like where basically it's kind of like, you know who should be living like that? Like methamphetamine addicts after 3 days. You know what I mean? Like that's who should be living like that. But if that's your world, man, then I suggest whatever you got to say about him, her, the other thing, you probably should just keep it to yourself, man. Because I guarantee if I'm knocking on your door, you ain't saying it. You don't even want to talk to DoorDash, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's the same people. It's the same people.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but that's why, like you said, it didn't affect you as much as you thought it was. It doesn't affect me. Like I find it funny. You know, there's even OGs in the skate community who I go back and forth with because, you know, because I want to challenge their ideas, right? And maybe they're hating on me a little bit, right? But it's always, you know, friendly banter back and forth. But then when we get to the rink, like we're skating, right?
Yeah,
like at the end of the day, what are we doing? We're just, you know, we're just roller skating.
Yeah,
so,
man.
It's
all love. It's all love.
That's it, you know.
I'm just talking about the hater troll.
Man, they don't stop. Like I'm telling you, I'm gonna keep going back to that Facebook post. Like I encourage people to go. I encourage people to go look. Like, I really encourage people to go look at that Facebook post and look at some of the ridiculous comments people are putting. Like all jokes aside, like some of the offensive stuff that they're saying that like would offend, it's offensive. Like they're saying crazy stuff, and then just like
now I gotta look. I haven't looked at the Facebook part of it.
People are. There's 95 comments. Go take a look
on Facebook because I
on
only
Facebook.
Yeah, because I barely ever look at the Facebook stuff. I look at the Insta stuff, but
Facebook. Go look at the I've replied. No, I'm not even saying you should remove it. I actually don't even think you should remove it. I think you should show it for what the internet is, right? People should see the internet for what it is, right? Like this is the effect. Like this is the reality. People will see you and see you on a video and not know nothing about you and comment the craziest stuff about you.
Yep.
They might comment it because they don't think you're good. They might comment it because they don't think you're black enough. They might comment it because they think you're too white. They might comment it because the people around you are too white. That's one of the comments. Oh, all the people around him are white. I see the way that he skates, yada yada yada. Okay, so it's like it's all there, So keep it up for sure. And I replied to some of them, because it's funny to me, right? But kids need to, not kids, but people who aspire to be like social media influencers, because I don't aspire to be that. I don't want to be that. I'm not that. I'm just a skater. But people who aspire to be that need to see like the effects, and then skaters need to see what other people are saying, so then they can maybe have a different mentality about the way they approach people. So, yeah,
man.
Yep.
It's like it's a weird thing, man. I think it's funny though, like about how there is a thing about I knew I was doing some things right when people started to get upset about it. You know what I mean?
That's it. That's it. Yep. You're doing something right when you're making people upset, but not for like logical reasons. They're just upset based off of their emotions. Like they're being very emotional. Like, okay, I know, all is well. So,
oh man,
yeah, I feel I'm in the best position I feel like I've ever been in. I do a lot of things other than skating. I keep myself occupied. I have so many. I'm a real estate agent. I'm a handyman for, high-end clients. And so like I do a whole lot of things to keep myself busy, and I do an after school program, and I am a volunteer with a nonprofit. And, there's just so much that I want to do and I want to accomplish. So like the road's not over, and I see the comments and, even people like I hear people say stuff and I'm just like, I'm 24, leaving an impact of skating that like, who knows what it'll be in the future. But all I know is like what I've done so far, I'm so proud of myself that like I could care less about what other people say.
Hell yeah, man. And look, dude, like the fact is, man, is you bring it to the floor. Nobody can deny it. You bring it to the floor.
Yeah. That part.
You are, you have the right balance of humility, but confidence. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, humility is just the ability to humility is just about being able to accurately assess myself at any given moment. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's not about just being like, oh, humility is not just like, oh, I suck. I'll never give myself a compliment. It's about being able to recognize, no, like where I'm good, where I'm flawed, where you know what I mean? It's just accurate. It's
everything.
So man, well, look, man, we hit an hour 45 about, dude. Thank you so much. Is there anything that you want to throw out there? Anything you want to say? Anything you want to announce, plug, whatever, man?
Yeah, I would just like, to thank everybody who, who watches my videos, who maybe, people who support me and in any way that you support me. I'm very blessed. I'm just a young kid from Cincinnati, who has always loved roller skating. Like at the end of the day, I just want people to just remember that. It's like, I'm just a kid who fell in love with roller skating 15 years ago and like has never looked back and has always tried to like elevate myself in different ways. And now is just trying to leave a lasting, legacy, of great things in roller skating that when you ask people years from now, like, that Dylan had just such a good impact and was such a heavy force in Cincinnati and around the world. I feel it's around the world, right? But my specific spot is Cincinnati. So I'm just thankful. I'm thankful for all the people who watch the videos, who comment, who send me words of encouragement when I need it the most. And to all my, to my girlfriend, Natalie, and to my parents who are always there for me. There's so many people that make everything go around There's so many people behind the scenes that maybe not even want to be listed, right? But
Right.
you know, they do it because that connection and that love. And so many people I could thank, but you know, I'm just thankful for it all.
That's dope, man. Cool. Well, man, thank you, man.
Thank you.
Man,
Thank you.
thank you, dude. Thank you, man. This is dope, man. This is awesome. People are gonna dig this. People are gonna like this a lot.
Good.
And
good.
Yeah, and anytime, man, you want to get on, like, you have ideas, you want to do, like, you know, there's a couple people like I've had back on, like, for like just special episode kind of things. You know what I mean? Like specific things. Anytime, man, you hit me up, dude.
We'll let them digest, and then we'll let it digest for a little bit, and then we'll come back in a few months and do the same thing, and we'll put like a topic or conversation. Maybe like a live podcast would be cool if you could somehow make that work. That'd be dope. So we'll think about something.
Yeah, I could do that for sure. And I'll see you in Ohio at some point here. I'll definitely be out there for flying. I don't know if you'll be out there.
I'll be here. I'm usually there. Cool. I go because I like shuffle skating every now and then, you know? Yeah, getting out there, getting a nice little breeze.
All right, man. Well, Dylan, thank you again, man. I appreciate it so much, dude.
You already know. Have a great night, and we'll talk soon, man.
All right, man. Peace.